Republican Senator Josh Hawley plans to introduce legislation establishing a $15 per hour minimum federal wage. President Donald Trump says he's going to Fort Bragg for a major speech. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is requesting a $62 million to modernize nuclear weapons. The New York State Senate has approved the doctor-assisted suicide bill and sent it to the governor for his approval. An illegal immigrant from Mexico has been arrested for throwing Molotov cocktails at police and will soon be deported. A man discovered dead in a Los Angeles street walk near looted stores. Senior Los Angeles official revealed that his daughters were arrested during the ongoing riots for allegedly assaulting a police officer with a deadly weapon. Real good at-home values taught there, huh? The state of California has asked the judge to immediately block Trump's use of military. ICE has arrested over 100 illegal immigrants in Nebraska. What are they doing out in the middle of the country? Who were working illegally using fake documents for stolen identities belonging to U.S. citizens. Who put them out there? Bill Gates made a secret visit to the White House, urging Secretary of State Marco Rubio to reverse the DOJ-initiated cuts to USAID. He wants his fingers in our cookie jar again. The federal judge has rejected California Governor Gavin Newsom's request to withdraw the National Guard and military from Los Angeles. Flyers handed to press in downtown Los Angeles warned them to put their cameras away or risk having them smashed. Federal grand jury indicts Representative LaMonica McIver on 3 counts of obstructing federal officers at a Newark ICE facility. She faces up to 17 years in prison. There goes that favorite number of ours. So let's get into the oratory here today. Great to see you all this morning and dive into a topic that's incredibly relevant to our discussions on sound money, precious metals, and the implications for fiat currency. Today, we're going to talk about a classic principle in economics known as Gresham's Law, and how we have a slide for that, Gresham's Law, and how it ties into the pre-1965 dimes, those silver little gems we've come to appreciate. Now, we want to explain what Gresham's Law, I'll do that. Okay. So essentially, Gresham's Law is essentially a principle that bad money drives out good, which means that when the two currencies with the same legal tender value exist, the less valuable currency tends to remain in circulation, while the more valuable one is hoarded and melted down. So after 1965 and later, they stopped putting silver in the dimes. So people started hoarding the silver, the dimes that did have the silver in it, and using the dimes that didn't. That's called Gresham's Law. This principle is named after Sir Thomas Gresham, a 16th century financier, and has been observed since ancient times. We'll also explore why bars and rounds, as much as we might love them for their silver content, they don't qualify as money in the traditional sense. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's jump in. Let's start with a principle that's been around since the 16th century, Gresham's Law. This law is simple. Its implications are profound. It states that bad money drives out good money. Now, I know what you're thinking. What exactly does that mean? In essence, Gresham Law tells us that when you have two forms of money in circulation, one being good money backed by something tangible like gold or silver, and the other being bad money like fiat currency, which isn't backed by anything, people will naturally hoard the good money and spend the bad. Why? Because good money has intrinsic value. It's backed by precious metals, or at least it once was. Meanwhile, the bad money is just paper, or in today's case, coins that don't contain any valuable metals or digits on a computer screen. Let me give you a historic example. Before 1965, U.S. dimes, quarters, half dollars are made of 90% silver. These coins actually contain something of value. But after 1965, the government started minting coins out of base metals, no silver. So what happened? People caught on. They realized the coins from 1965 were worth more in silver than their face value. So they started hoarding the old coins and using the new, worthless ones for day-to-day transactions. This is the essence of Gresham's Law at work. The bad money, the non-silver coins, circulated, while the good money, the silver coins, is taken out of circulation, saved, and stored. But why does this matter to us today? Well, pre-1965 dimes and quarters and half dollars are still circulating in some form, though you won't find them as much in your regular change. Those dimes still hold value. Why? Because they contain 90% silver. Even though the face value of a dime is 10 cents, the silver in that dime is worth much more. Depending on the market, the silver in a pre-1965 dime may be worth $2.50 to $3, sometimes more. And here's the kicker. One guy paid $4 for a dime. And here's the kicker. This silver has intrinsic value. It's something real, something you can't hold something you can hold in your hand. As a matter of fact, any combination of pre-1965 dimes, quarters, half dollars, or dollars totaling $1.40. It gives you 1 troy ounce of pure silver. That's the way it works. Pretty cool, huh? Our forefathers are pretty smart. Contrast that with our modern day dimes, which are made from a mix of copper and nickel. They have no intrinsic value, just whatever the value is the government decides to put on them. So when we talk about sound money, we're talking about money that has intrinsic value. And pre-1965 dimes are the perfect example of that. They represent the kind of currency that once it's money, though, it once served as the backbone of our economy, backed by something tangible. But now let's talk about why bars and rounds, though precious, are not considered money in the traditional sense. Bars and rounds are good for investment purposes. They're a great way to store wealth. Their value is based on the market price of silver, which can fluctuate. But here's the thing, they are not money. Why? Because they lack a few key characteristics that define money in traditional sense. Legal tender status, number one. In most cases, bars and rounds are not legal tender. This means they are not officially recognized as acceptable payment of debts, taxes, or transactions as U.S. coins and bills are. Coins issued by the U.S. Mint are legal tender. They are recognized by law as money. Silver bars and rounds do not have this legal backing. They should be less. Why are you guys paying more over spot for bars and rounds? And you could be getting the dimes that are coin of the realm. Divisibility. We know that money needs to be easily divided into smaller units. That's why we have $1 bills, $5, $10, $50, $20, and $50 and $100 bills. Smaller bills are more utilitarian. Okay, you wouldn't use a large silver bar to buy a loaf of bread, would you? Silver bars and rounds are bulky and hard to use for everyday transactions, especially when purchases are small. With pre-1965 dimes, on the other hand, they are small, easily divisible, and perfect for daily commerce. This cockamamie idea that dimes will be used as barter is absolutely absurd. Now, where am I getting this? Some guy out there with a 3-acronym name, and he's been around for quite a while, and I think Lynette left him for a little while, is out claiming that dimes will be used for barter purposes. Well, let's define what barter actually is. Okay, bartering is the oldest form of commerce dating back to ancient times and involves the exchange of goods or services, quote unquote, without using money, because dimes are money. You're not going to be bartering with dimes. It can be done according to established rates or through bargaining. Bartering can benefit companies and countries that see mutual benefit in exchanging goods and services instead of cash. But dimes are money. Dimes are not involved in barter. If you have 2 pounds of chicken and I have a couple pounds of beef, maybe we'll swap, and that's bartering, okay? But not when I have dimes. That's actual money. That's what we're going to use to go back to. Your parents bought your diapers this way as well as your formula. It can also help those who lack hard currency to obtain goods and services. It really upsets me because what he's doing is he's trying to say that the dimes aren't worth anything more than just simply for barter issues. You want to put your money in the pre-1960, put your money in the dimes and the bars and rounds and pre-1933 coins and stuff that's off the charts expensive over spot. No, we want to get as close to spot as possible. We want to harness as much of our purchasing power as possible, as close to the spot price of silver at the real spot price of silver. Mad Dog found out there's many different iterations of what spot price actually is. I think Lilia had turned us on to that. But anyway, let's get back to this. Coin of the realm are universally recognized as money. When you hand someone a silver dime, they immediately know what it's worth. There's no need to weigh it or check the current market price of silver. But if you try to pay someone with a 1-ounce silver round, you'd need to make sure they understood its value and market price, who it was minted by, whether or not they've ever had any problems. Is it really 99.99% silver? Does it really weigh 1 ounce? Where's the authenticity? Where's the guarantees of this stuff? Is there a for-profit company? For-profit companies can go into business and out of business. Governments are not for-profit entities. They're in business to provide us with money that we're supposed to be using in commerce. So, now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that bars and rounds don't have value. They absolutely do. They're a great form of wealth storage and hedging against inflation. But they just don't meet the requirements of everyday money in the way that pre-1965 dimes or gold or silver coins do. What you want is your money to be used as fungibly as possible, meaning that you're not looking for something unique. The Lunar Series put out by SD Bullion, that is nonsense. You don't want something like that unless you simply want to collect it and put it up on the wall and look at it. You need something utilitarian. This stuff is going to be on sale after the switch is flipped. Take a couple of your dimes and go buy as many of those things as you want, because they're not going to have any use to it, because the possibility of them being counterfeited is quite great. Additionally, cashiers aren't going to know that it's real money. Oh, goodness, where are we going to go with this? So what's the takeaway from today's discussion? It's simple. Gresham's law is still relevant today and explains how bad money, fiat currency, drives out good money, like pre-1965 dimes. That's why they're available right now. Somebody decided to use the bad dimes instead of the good dimes. They kept the good dimes. Now, instead of getting 10 cents for the dime, they get $2.40, $2.50. One guy paid $4 for one dime. I'm telling you, you're going to find it very hard to find dimes. You're going to be glad you got them at $4. Now, right now, you can get them at $1.02 over spot, which puts a dime at around maybe $2.50, $2.60. So anyway, when we're talking, it's a small world. When we talk about sound money, we're advocating for a return to currency that is real, tangible wealth and real, tangible value, like silver, like gold. Those with pre-1965 coins that represent a more honest and sustainable form of exchange. Well. Guess who owns that building where all that stuff's being stored? Mayor Karen Bass. Oh, goodness, huh? Starting to connect the dots? I think we are. All lives splatter. Nobody cares about your protest. Keep your butt out of the road. Looks like 27 has won the LA riot lottery. 29 Palms will be sending 500 to 700 infantry Marines. Stay safe, have fun. We have a report on what the 29 Palms is all about. It's going to stun you. Marines from 27 to 29 Palm, welcome and have fun. Why are they saying have fun? You ought to listen to how they train these guys. Oh, here's the guy. This is awesome. Listen to this guy. They make them.
Y'all out of your damn mind. Because y'all didn't pull Marines from Camp Pendleton that are hanging out at the pier and chasing tail and getting drunk on the beach and all that bullshit. No, you pulled 27 from 29 Palms, the stumps is what we call it. 29 stumps. There are Marine Corps installations, then there's 29 Palms, which is arguably one of the worst places to ever be sent as a U.S. Marine, where dreams are reeking of desperation and the Marines hate life. It is where we take U.S. Marines that are basically trained to be killers, and we put them in a cage and we shock them and we beat them. We don't feed them. We don't, they absolutely hate their lives. We turn them into fighting dogs at 29 Palms. Y'all are giving 27 from the stumps the green light to go to LA. LA's done in 20 minutes, y'all. 20 minutes. I give it 20 minutes. 27, message to you, gentlemen. We would have loved to have gotten some green light like this one. A lot of us. So make us proud, boys. Semper Fidelis. Rah.
Someone asked me if I support the protests that are going on in LA. I 100% do. Please keep going. Burn down your own backyard if you must. You know why? Because this right here is the greatest campaign ad that this side never had to pay for. Out there in Los Angeles throwing a full-blown like y'all just crawled out the Rio Grande, screaming death to America in a country that gave you freedom to do. You were born at Kaiser Permanente in Burbank. Stop it. You ain't El Chapo, you're Chris from Pasadena. You ain't cartel born. You were Target born with a Costco membership by age 5. Half you protesting ain't even Mexican. You're American with Mexican heritage. And a tattoo of the Virgin Mary you got on a Vegas bender. Don't get it twisted, I respect the heritage. But flying a foreign flag while on the country that gave you the freedom to do it, that's not pride. You don't even go to Mexico unless it's for spring break in Cancun with a passport you got from the US government. And you won't go live there. Why? Because you like your DoorDash, your 7-Elevens, your air conditioning, and your freedom to scream death without a cartel rolling up on your mouth. And let's be honest, ain't nobody screaming death to Mexico while flying an American flag through Guadalajara. You know why? Because that's how you end up in a back alley, starring in Cartel TikTok Season 3. Meanwhile, the rest of America is sitting back watching you block freeways during rush hour, destroying businesses, wearing $300 Jordans, screaming about injustice, in the city with the most social programs and diversity hires in the country. Y'all are the political version of throwing a Molotov cocktail at a Prius because you're mad about gas prices. So listen, I'm not mad you're passionate. I'm mad you're dumb. And your behavior is helping the other side more than a Trump rally in Texas with free brisket. Every time y'all riot, loot, tearing up your own, you're just birthing another red voter. So yeah, I support the protest. Keep going. Keep flying flags of countries you ain't got to move to. And on the system that literally gives you the right to.
This is sad. This is very sad. What I want to share with you next. Oh, is this? Okay.
Yes.
13-year-old CJ Daniels in serious condition in a hospital intensive care unit following brain surgery Saturday morning. His family is asking for your prayers. Now, if you saw this video clip, he was embracing Donald Trump and is basically warning the Democrats to lay off him. One of the Democrats said, I certainly hope your cancer comes back.
Very sad. very, very sad.